What is your conflict style? Do you avoid it altogether, approach it head on, or something in between? I am Tavish Cardiff. It is our Raw Materials Conflict Week, and the pillar this week, conflict, helps us figure out where we keep things trapped in our bodies. This starts with why and how you approach conflict. What do you take on as important enough to you to fight about? And if you're fighting about things just to fight about them, what are the reasons for that? All of this is revealed when we start to dig in to what goes on, what we keep in our body with our breath. So when you take some deep breaths and really push on that exhale, what does it come up against? Where's the resistance? Is there resistance in your throat? Are you not able to say what you want to say? Is the resistance in the back of your neck? Is it hard for you to take in what other people say? Is the resistance in your thoracic? Is it more your heart? Is it more your being able to take in or give love? Is the tension in your midsection? Is it in your mental structure? We can go on and on with finding conflict in the body, but the truth is, whatever we encounter in the world that makes us uncomfortable, we either deal with or we stuff in our body. One way or another, it's going to find its way towards movement, because conflict is the thing that's its purpose. It moves us. When we encounter conflict, be it internal, external, societal, us against the world, there are all types of conflicts that we might engage in. When we figure out the ones that are really important to us, we're willing to take them on. Me personally, I'm willing to make a video every week in support of something that I strongly believe, even though maybe a lot of people around me are like, this girl has lost it. And it might appear that way to some people. But for me, this is valid enough, it's real enough, it works enough that I would like to share it. And I would like this message to be out there at the cost of a lot of other things. But I've weighed my values on it. I am willing to fight for this particular cause. There are a lot of other swords that I've put down. There are a lot of things now that I won't fight for that I was probably eager to fight about prior to deciding what was actually important to me. So we each have a threshold of what is acceptable. We each have boundaries, and they're all based on what we have experienced and what things have hurt us in the past. When we know what those things are, it's a lot easier to recognize the places that create conflict within us, so that when somebody does or says something that rubs up against us in a way that triggers us or affects our value system or challenges the way that we want things to be, it's easy to get caught up in conflict, and it's easy to make decisions about whether we're going to engage in the conflict, whether we're going to take some deep breaths and be able to kind of let it go, or whether it's something that we need to dig in on and start, attempting to handle. For me personally, I struggle in conflict because I always want to make my point. And a lot of times my point isn't even relevant to the actual conflict. I just want to be understood. And when I realize that my need to be understood sometimes is out in front of what would actually resolve a conflict, I started to ease back on needing to say what I thought or how I felt. And it's allowed me to sit back and listen rather than engage in the conflict. I can see from a vantage point that I couldn't see when I was out here trying to explain myself, which again, not always necessary. What I wanted was an immediate resolution, and I found myself unwilling to compromise because in my mind, somehow to do so would be to not take responsibility for something that I felt responsible for. And when I realized my opinions aren't necessarily things that need to be backed up, and they can oppose other people's in the same room, and I can sit there and be just fine. The more that I spend time doing that, the more that I spend time allowing my thoughts, feelings, beliefs, and opinions to be even contradictory to other people's, the more I learn about just how other people see things in relation to how I do. And it's a broader scope of understanding, and experiencing that is something that I hope for all of us. So our conflict, while it stirs us and it makes us want to act, it also creates the movement that lets the things that bother us shift into something else and become something that maybe wasn't helpful, and now we can use to have understanding in a different situation, or we can use it in a way that we didn't expect or anticipate that we would be able to use it. Our ability to breathe and scan our own body for the places that we hide those feelings, breathe through them, let them go, and just find that center, so that when we do engage in conflict, it's a conflict that we are standing behind with our soul, not just our ego trying to win. Listening is a key that leads us all into backing off and easing off of conflict. When we are listening, we become curious, and we also become unattached to outcome. If we must say how we feel, we say it as an offering, but not as a need to be understood. And I recognize that is my ego's trigger and trip. But it doesn't have any place in a lot of situations that I would like for it to. And once I truly understood that, it's easy for me to push my agenda when I want to, and to pull it back when it's not helpful. When we're going to fight for what is important to us, we need to understand why it's important, and we need to be able to back it up. When we can, we encounter a whole lot less conflict. The practice guidance for this week: spend time scanning your body with your breath for the places that are tense. And when you get to tense places, continue to breathe into them, and ask for messages, listen to what those spots are attached to. See what memories come up, see what thoughts come up, and just be open to interpreting what the connection might be between the tightness itself and the thought. And just spend some time noticing differences. Don't tax yourself, don't make it hard, but pay attention to any connections there are and breathe into them. At the very least, you will find yourself a little bit relaxed around the places that are tight, and at best, you will start connecting the reasons why things make you irritated or bothered to begin with. You can breathe around any type of conflict, internal, external. You can be sitting in a meeting at work and bothered by something someone's saying or doing. If you focus on your own breathing, starting with your head or your toe, just breathe through your whole body, you will find yourself much more able to handle the situation and even offer a solution that shuts down the parts you don't like and leaves the journey open for the parts that you do. Never underestimate your own ability to come through conflict with a resolution that serves everyone, including you. I am Tavish, thanking you for listening to this session of ORM Conflict Week. I will be back next week to talk about Intention Week, and I hope you enjoy your week. Thank you.